Straight ahead on WBKB, the Senate begins their trial to impeach the former president tomorrow.
Plus, AAA has a few cold weather tips for your cars, and one local teacher wins a grant from State Farm.
You're watching Thunder Bay News Network. WBKB News at 6 starts now.
This is WBKB News at 6. An in-depth look at news, weather, and sports. From hard-hitting news stories to local events, we're there with coverage you can count on. You're watching WBKB News at 6.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Tyler Cruz.
And I'm Sherry Stewart. The impeachment trial of former President Donald J. Trump is set to begin this week. Tomorrow, the Senate will begin trial deciding whether or not former President Trump is guilty of high crimes and misdemeanors relating to the deadly January 6th riot in Washington, D.C. Prior to President Biden's inauguration, the House impeached President Trump with the support of 10 Republican representatives.
Well, President Biden this morning said he hopes the Senate will work it out. However, the White House says he may not spend much time watching the proceedings.
He will not spend too much time watching the proceedings of any time over the course of this week, and he will leave the pace and the process and the mechanics of the impeachment proceedings up to members of Congress.
Trump's impeachment lawyers called the trial political theater and accused House Democrats of using the deadly events for political gain. His lawyers claim his speech was protected by the First Amendment and that the Senate does not have the jurisdiction to convict him. Tomorrow's events on the Senate floor will begin with a debate and a vote on the constitutionality of prosecuting a former president. On Wednesday, opening arguments begin, with each party allowed up to 16 hours of presentation. Trump has declined to testify, and there will likely be no witnesses. The second impeachment trial is met with a sense of urgency from both sides. Democrats want to convict President Trump, and Republicans want to move on from the events as quickly as possible.
In other news, according to Michigan health officials, another confirmed case of a highly contagious COVID-19 variant has been reported in a third Michigan county. The variant, known as B117, was reported on Sunday in Kent County. As of February 5th, a total of 28 known cases of the variant have been identified in the state over the last month, but the cases have only been reported in Washtenaw and Wayne counties. The new case reported on the opposite side of the state Sunday appears to confirm health officials' belief that more cases of the variant likely exist in the state. They just have not been identified. Experts warn that the B117 variant will likely become the dominant source of COVID-19 infections in the U.S. by the end of March of this year. To help prevent the spread of COVID-19 and more contagious variants, people are encouraged to continue taking precautions, including social distancing, mask wearing, practicing good hygiene, and avoiding crowds and gatherings. For the latest on COVID-19, including cases in our area, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus.
With this week's weather forecast calling for some of the coldest temperatures of the year thus far throughout the state, AAA is issuing a statewide Arctic air advisory. WBKB's Tiffany Maddox tells us some ways we can keep our cars running smoothly in these freezing temperatures.
It's super cold, and temperatures are expected to hover in the teens and single digits throughout the state this week, with wind chills dipping into the negatives. Extremely cold temperatures can wreak havoc on vehicle functionality. AAA offers the following tips to help motorists keep their vehicles road ready. Make sure your battery is good. Have your charging system tested to ensure it's fully charged and in good condition. And don't get caught with a low gas tank. Keep your tank at least half full to avoid a gas line freeze up. And keep those windows clean. Use a windshield washer fluid with winter solvent that won't freeze. Also, park in a garage if possible. If you don't have access to one, put a tarp over the hood or park in a wind-protected area. You may also want to avoid a car wash right now until temps are above freezing. You don't want your doors to freeze. Overall, in an emergency, stay warm and stay safe. In Alpena, Tiffany Maddox, WBKB News.
And during cold snaps like this, AAA recommends drivers always travel with a cell phone and a car charger. And if motorists become stranded, it is best to stay with the vehicle. And your car isn't the only thing you need to keep an eye on. The Alpena Fire Department's Risk Reduction Officer, Andy Marceau, says parents should help their kids develop safe habits for winter playtime. He says the most important lesson is time management. Parents should teach their kids to come inside frequently to warm up. Until kids develop that skill, however, Marceau stresses that parental supervision is absolutely necessary.
Parents, should never just send their kid outside. Kids lose track of time, just like parents do, and they don't even think they're getting cold. And the next thing you know, those ears, those cheeks, and the nose can start getting to the point where frostbite is starting.
Marceau recommends limiting playtime outdoors to 20 or 30-minute periods. Once the kids are in, parents should set them somewhere warm and provide a hot snack.
Well, State Farm is giving out more than insurance these days, and on the receiving end of that benefit, that is one local teacher. WBKB Stephanie Manici has more.
Michigan teachers were asked to submit innovative teaching ideas for an opportunity to win State Farm Teacher Assist grants. According to State Farm agent Samuel Rumbles, 200 submissions were accepted and reviewed, and 40 teachers were awarded $2,500 grants. One local Alpena teacher walked away as a winner.
There were 3 recipients here in northern Michigan, one in Sheboygan, one in Tawas City, and one right here in Alpena. So a local teacher at Pied Piper Schools, Audrey Spicer, she was awarded the $2,500 to help with communication devices.
Rumbles shares why giving back is so important.
I've got a couple friends who are teachers, and they've shared a little bit with me about the struggles with students focusing while they're at home, being able to still develop that relationship as a teacher to the student.
Another local agent, TJ Hose, shares why giving back locally means so much to him.
Sam and I are both born and raised in Alpena, so to be able to have our offices here and at the same time kind of give back to the communities and school systems that we went through is awesome.
Rumble spoke with Alpena's winner and says she was ecstatic to hear the news. He adds that it's awesome to see businesses and corporations looking out for the little guy in this point in time. In Alpena, Stephanie Manici, WBKB News.
Well, Elon Musk and Tesla have invested at about $1.5 billion in one cryptocurrency, causing it to surge, as reports say. Musk's electric vehicle company Tesla recently revealed it had purchased around $1.5 billion of Bitcoin and would soon accept it as a form of payment. Over the last year, Musk has become the richest man in the world after shares of Tesla surged nearly 500%. Musk is a well-known supporter of cryptocurrency, tweeting regularly this past month in support of a digital currency Dogecoin and GameStop as well. After the announcement, the price of Bitcoin has surged over 10%, and one Bitcoin would cost an investor over $40,000. Yeah, interesting. I'm going to buy a Tesla with a Bitcoin when I get home.
There you go. Well, there is more news ahead for you here on WBKB. Coming up, we take a look back at one woman's amazing journey in this week's 60-Second Inspirations.
I'll let you know about any more substantial chances of snow later in the week and if there's any sign of relief from any of this cold coming up later in the newscast.
Well, thank you for that, Ellie. Well, Mikhail Carter was voted this year's most inspiring story at Bay Athletic Club. Today, we get to take a look back at her story.
Mikhail Carter was a competitive swimmer for 11 years, and she loved it. But when her father passed away, everything changed, including her healthy lifestyle. In this week's 60-Second Inspirations, we see how Mikhail regained her health and her life.
This segment of 60-Second Inspirations is brought to you by the Bay Athletic Club in Alpena.
Mikhail Carter was a competitive swimmer for 11 years. She loved it. But when her father passed away from liver cancer, she quit her college swim team. The anxiety from her full class load and grief from her loss was all she could handle. Mikhail was sleeping poorly, no longer getting in daily pool workouts, and was using sugary processed foods and caffeinated drinks to cope and stay awake to complete her assignments. These new habits took a toll on her health. When she landed her first job out of college, she was 70 pounds heavier. Mikhail soon noticed how simple things were now hard, like tying her
of the lake. Thank you, Angie, for sending us this photo. If you have a photo, such as nature shots, pics with friends, or interesting sights you see that you would like to send us, email it along with a short description to news@wbkb11.com.
It's really interesting.
I know,
It looks like
what a shot.
shards of glass,
I
right?
know, it does.
Well, Jake Vanderbrook is going to have your highlights from all the former Patriots in just a second. But first, he's here with a preview. Jake, what's going on?
Yeah, I like what you did there, Tyler, but also former Michigan quarterback. Next in sports today marks the first day of winter contact sports. They can fully begin practice, and some sports can even start competing. We'll preview our games we're covering for this Monday evening. And yes, you know, Tom.
Well, normally every year before the Super Bowl, we get a different kind of event, one a lot more soft and playful. Well, it was a little different in the time of COVID, but here are the sights and sounds from this year's Puppy Bowl.
Beliveau, touchdown, and you are dominating this field. That was quite the carry. Hang on. Fozzie, hang on. Pancaking the pup, okay? That's a 5-yard penalty. It's a big one. Hey, Chunky Monkey, that's a foul for excessive slumber. Yeah, you can't nap out on the field. Save it for the locker.
Well, even if the dogs have no idea, I guess there are winners and losers to the Puppy Bowl, and Team Rough took the victory over Team Fluff in the 17th anniversary of the cutest show on turf. It had about 70 adoptable pups this year, and it was officiated by longtime referee Dan Shackner. Isn't that awesome? I love the Puppy Bowl every year.
Well, that's all we have for you this evening.
You can read more about our broadcast stories and get the scoop on other news items online.
Just visit WBKB11.com for sports, weather, and news updates anytime, day or night.
And check us out on our Facebook page and Twitter handle @WBKB11.
And be sure to catch us back here tonight at 11 with Stephanie Manici. Have a great evening.